So, recently I've been doing a lot of rhythm gaming, mostly in OS, but I've encountered a slight problem. I use a wireless keyboard and there is some latency. Not much, but enough for me to notice since it impacts my scores. That brings me to this video. Hey guys, All Over Windows here, and today, we're going to be unboxing the Wooting 2HE. This keyboard manufacturer has been making the rounds a bit recently, especially in the gaming scene due to the hardware and software features they offer. So, in the box we have the keyboard itself. The packaging was a little bit dusty, but that doesn't matter since it's a nice wrap of plastic around it. Also in the box is a wrist rest to accompany the keyboard. This is an add-on that you can choose to purchase with the keyboard and comes in two different colors at the time of recording. While on the topic of extras, you can also purchase extra key switches and lubricant. The wrist rest also, of course, comes in a plastic wrap for clean shipping. Cracking open the keyboard's box, we have this little container holding the key puller, the cable, and 4 extra switches. It's a braided USB-C to USB-A cable and is of pretty decent length and quality. Next up, we have the extra switches and the puller. They even came in a Wooting branded plastic zip bag for safekeeping. Welcome additions if you manage to exceed the 100 million presses lifespan of some keys. Here's a good look at the lacquer switches that the Wooting keyboard uses. Now onto the keyboard itself. The Wooting 2HE is a full-size board and feels just about as heavy as one. Flipping over to the back side, you can see the legs and the guide for the cable. You can run the cable either left, right, or center, whichever is best for your setup. While we have it out, let's do a little sound test. Very nice. Next up, we have a little instruction guide for properly installing new switches into the board, complete with disclaimers so you can't yell at Wooting if you mess it up. We also get a little Wooting postcard. Greetings from Wooting, it reads, with what I assume to be the board's developers or testers and some hardware pictures. Finally, peering further into the box, there's a link to a quick start guide, some cutouts for making a photo stand for the keyboard, and a social media call to action. I guess this is mine, so I own a Wooting now! Let's go! So, what do Wooting keyboards do that others don't? First, they use analog input. To quote Wooting themselves, the Wooting 2HE detects full switch motion with 0.1mm accuracy from start to end. Every single key outputs an analog signal that can be used for numerous features that enhance your typing and gaming experience. This is similar to certain older console controllers, for example, the GameCube. The L and R buttons on the GameCube controllers used analog input. Lightly pressing them would be different from a full press. Another very interesting selling point is that these keyboards let you adjust the actuation point. The actuation point is essentially how far the key has to be pressed in order for it to be registered as pressed. What this means is that you could raise the actuation point to, say, 0.1mm, where just barely grazing the key could count as a press, or you could lower it to 4mm, where you have to fully bottom out the key. Next, I'll talk about one of the coolest features of the Wooting keyboards, and probably their biggest selling point: Rapid Trigger. Rapid Trigger is a bit difficult to explain, so I'll let Wooting do that for us. Eliminate the second slowest element in input latency. Return key press travel before key deactivation. Rapid Trigger dynamically changes the actuation and deactivation points. Your keys will activate when you intend to press them and deactivate when you intend to let go. You can repeat a key press mid-motion without needing to surpass a fixed reset or actuation point for rapid presses. For certain games, this feature is literally game-changing, especially in rhythm games like OS. For example, high BPM note streams end up becoming much easier, along with finger control and maintaining stamina. To my understanding, there was even drama amongst the game's community due to this, where some even claimed it was cheating. Of course, I'm not too familiar with this, but it's very interesting that a hardware feature like this could get such a reaction. But speaking of cheating, that leads us to the next big feature they offer, Rappy Snappy. Rappy Snappy is even more complicated to explain than Rapid Trigger, so again, let's hand it over to Wooting. Rappy Snappy monitors at least 2 selected keys and activates the key pressed the furthest. When combined with Rapid Trigger, it'll compare the keys only when it is in active state, allowing pre-pressing and faster activation on opposite key release. Now at the time of this video's release, this feature is legitimately banned in certain games like Counter-Strike 2, as it is essentially a null-bind script. This feature completely axes the skill out of a technique called counter-strafing. If you want a more detailed explanation on why this is banned, I'll leave a video linked in the description that goes in depth. This specific video was also featured by Wooting themselves in their blog post talking about the ban. So, as I said in the intro, I've been doing a lot of rhythm gaming. I'm still kinda new to them, so I asked my friend Jernoid to test out the keyboard and see what he thinks.
Howdy folks, Jernoid here. I've been playing Osu since 2015 and moved over to Osu Mania around 4 years ago. I'm also developing a rhythm game myself, so here's my immediate thoughts on the Wooting 2 HE. The first thing I noticed was that the keyboard takes a little bit to get used to moving from a mechanical keyboard. I currently use a Logitech G910, so the difference in actuation distance using the Wooting's rapid trigger features was actually quite noticeable. I had to consciously think about pressing the keys slightly later than I normally would. This is not a fault of the Wooting, of course, but rather where I would normally have to press slightly earlier for a mech keyboard. Certain note patterns became easier to hit as well, such as streams, and jacks. The keyboard itself seems like it would take a little while to get used to, especially using Rapid Trigger. During these tests, I would find myself accidentally pressing the keys when returning to a neutral position, or just after completing a complex pattern of notes.
After having used the keyboard for about a week or two at time of recording, typing on it is pretty normal when you aren't using Rapid Trigger. I don't exactly recommend using Rapid Trigger for use outside of gaming, as it's really not necessary. So really, without Rapid Trigger on, typing feels pretty normal, and you can still customize the actuation distance to suit your own tastes. So these are my immediate thoughts on the Wooting 2 HE. I've only owned the board for 8 days at this point, so as more time passes, these opinions may change a little bit. If you have any questions about the keyboard, feel free to send me a DM on Discord, or just ask me in my Discord server. The link to that will be down in the description below. But so far, I love how much different it feels compared to my old keyboard. It feels much better, and it's really nice to go back to an original design with more floaty keys instead of a flat keyboard. It makes typing, gaming, everything really just feel so much easier for me. So yeah, that is my overview of the Wooting 2 HE keyboard. I hope you guys liked this video. Please make sure to hit that liking button and subscribe if you're new. I actually opened up a new website so you guys can actually check out the merchandise that I have for this channel. I actually really like how the merch turned out, so I would greatly appreciate it if you guys could check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure to check out my Discord link, which is also down in the description below. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye, guys!